How you guys and girls doing today? It's Simpson918 here, and in this video we are going over gear fear and how to get over it. We've got 5 major points to cover with answers to each point, and you're going to want to watch this video all the way through because the last one is by far the most important. Like I always say, if you're enjoying these kind of videos, please consider leaving a like and subscribing as it helps out the channel and is much appreciated. But with that being said, this is going to be a long one, so let's get right into it. Number 1, getting deep and asking the right questions. Questions such as, is it really the gear that you're afraid of losing? Do you often run gear with your teammates, but then when you start playing solo, go back to a pistol or a shotgun? Why are you afraid of losing that gear? Is it because you don't have the money to replace it? And we'll get into that more later on in the video. Could it be that it's not the gear at all? It's actually just getting jump scared and dying to something you can't even see and losing the loot when you weren't even able to fire off a single shot? Asking questions like these are really important because we need to pinpoint what exactly you're afraid of and why you're afraid of it. If it's true that you don't bring in gear whether you're playing with a squad or by yourself, then the answer is simple. We can take the passive approach or the aggressive. The passive approach is going to maps such as Factory or Ground Zero, mainly because they're the smallest maps and they'll provide you with the most PvP as fast as possible, and bringing in nothing but a pistol or a shotgun. That way you can start running towards fights as soon as possible and getting used to getting kills and losing gear. Then over time, as you get comfortable in PvP situations and your confidence goes up, you can start bringing in smaller but bigger kits such as PP19s, SKSs, mini AKs, so on and so forth. You can also start doing scav runs on the side and bringing in the scav gear onto your PMC, so that way even if you lose it, it technically won't hit as hard since that was never your stuff to begin with in the first place. The more aggressive approach is throwing yourself right into the pit of the fire, going right into Factory with the best kit that you have available in your stash right now and losing it, and that way you can feel those emotions and start progressing way faster at getting used to losing and gaining gear. Now, in the other scenario, is it true that you'll run gear when you're with your friends but not when you're solo? If that's the case, then it could be something that doesn't have to do with the gear at all. Think about it. If you're willing to go through a whole 7 to 8 hours and losing kits all day with your friends, but you play solo and you don't want to bring in a kit, maybe it's the sound that you're afraid of. I've talked to a lot of people, and after asking them these questions, they admit that it is the sound. It's the jump scares. When you're in a group, you hear several footsteps, you hear several guns going off, and you're a lot more comfortable because a lot more people are around you and you don't have to be that attentive to your surroundings. When you're solo, every single step on glass, wood, metal, every crack, every scrape, every shot is a potential threat, and that scares you. Once again, the answer here is exposure therapy. Going into Factory at Ground Zero, even if you go into an offline raid, turning the scavs on high and just allowing all of them to rush you so you can get used to the sounds, people gunning you down, voice lines, so on and so forth. The aggressive approach to that is doing the exact same thing, but actually doing it in a live raid, just bum rushing every single shot or sound that you hear, getting used to how the sounds sound, and becoming comfortable with every single audio cue imaginable. Number 2, situations without gear will start to frustrate you. Let's face it, if you have a lot of hours in Tarkov, there have been so many times when you've gotten into a fight with somebody and you died, and the very first thing you thought was, man, if I had better gear in that situation, I 100% would have won that fight. Even though better guns, ammo, and kits don't make you invincible, they can definitely turn the tide in a fight, and a couple bullets not killing you can make all the difference and turn the tide around in a fight completely. We attack this just like we attack number 1, by exposure therapy, going into raids and slowly upgrading your gear, more specifically your armor, and noticing the difference when you go up against scavs and eventually players. Number 3, always be learning with intention and purpose. One of the main reasons you might be concerned about gear or losing it is simply because you don't know how a lot of your gear works. How many weapons do you have or armor in your stash right now, and you have no idea how the armor value or systems work? You have no idea how that gun or the ergonomics on it work. You're afraid to bring it in because you've never used that gun, or you're afraid when you get into a fight it's going to shoot up in the sky. Same thing with armor. Maybe you're bringing armor in and you immediately die and say to yourself, wow, that didn't help me at all, but the reality is you never put in side plates in them. Getting familiar with every single armor, ammo, and gun in the game will definitely make you a lot more comfortable and willing to bring in those kits. We attack this one by asking ourselves deeper questions such as, what kind of armor is this? Does it have side plates or does it need them? What level of armor is this? This gun that I'm using, what kind of ergos does it have? Does it have good enough vertical and horizontal recoil? Should I test this first? Is this ammo going to penetrate certain armors? Is this kit the best kit for the raid or the map that I'm going into? Actively learning and knowing your loadout will make you more confident confident not only in gear but just in overall gameplay. Number 4, have plenty of money and a personal safety threshold. Y'all, I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone into a raid and thought to myself, man, if I lose this kit, I'm done. I have to go back to pistols or even a hatchet because I don't even have the money to buy ammo. It makes complete sense that you're afraid to bring in gear or bring in your best gear if that gear is the only gear that you have or the only good gear that you have, and you know that you can't replace it or buy it back. By setting a safety amount or a safety threshold in terms of rubles or dollars, you ensure that you're always comfortable with the kit, and even if you lose it, you can have many kits on standby. What I did at the very beginning was mimic certain streamers and YouTubers, and I noticed that they always had around 5 to 10 million in rubles in their stash, so what I would like to do is double that to make sure that I was good. As of right now, in patch 0.15, making money has never been easier, and if you want a full guide on that, I will leave a link right up in the right hand corner for you to watch after this video. There are plenty of ways to do it, from the Bitcoin farm to just simply crafting items in your hideout, playing arena, or just farming the in-game maps. Just make sure to select a personal safety threshold for you, and whenever you fall below it, you can go right back to farming or getting that money back up, but at least you'll know that you can run kits non-stop and not have to worry about going back to pistols or shotguns. Number 5, accept failure as part of the process. A lot of times, especially in real life, when we think about things that we fear, we don't want those things to come true, and it's not good if they do. Like, you don't want to be fearful of getting into a car accident and then accepting that it's going to happen, because if it happens, that could be catastrophic. In Tarkov, it's different though. A lot of the things in Tarkov are simply out of your control, and accepting that you're going to fail, that you're going to lose, that you're going to die is liberating. If the true reason that you're not bringing in gear is because you're afraid that you're going to lose it, accept that you will. If you're afraid you're going to get embarrassed and die in the most embarrassing way, accept that you will. If you're afraid you're going to die to a hacker or to a cheater, or that you're going to get jump scared, accept that it is going to happen one day. This doesn't mean that we're going into the raid with the intention of dying or not trying our best, but we do know that things happen and that is okay. Sometimes we all need that little reminder and to give yourself some grace. The moment I accepted this, not only did it boost my confidence level with my skill, but also just bringing in kits. It's all a part of the process on the journey to become a better player. And remember, the game is always going to be wiping anyway. And a little added bonus tip for y'all: look after or invest in newer hardware and or peripherals if possible. These things might not sound like a big deal, but the amount of confidence you can gain by simply getting a better keyboard, a better mouse, or much more arm space if you play on a lower sensitivity, things like IEMs instead of over-the-ear headsets, and even things such as just calibrating the game to run at the maximum efficiency that you can get it to run for your PC is insane. This ties into point number 3, always be learning with intention and purpose. Don't just launch the game and think to yourself, whatever sensitivity the game is set for me, I just have to use that and hope that my muscle memory can adjust. Take time to adjust and learn your personal in-game sensitivity and what works best for you. Take time as you're setting up your personal settings in-game for Tarkov or on your monitor to make sure you have the best visibility settings and FPS settings for you. And like I said earlier, something as little as having enough desk space or more arm space than you normally have can make a huge difference. So that is it for this video, guys. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Let me know if I missed anything or anything that you want me to add, and I will catch you all in the next one. Best of luck in your raids. I know you'll tear them up. Simpson918 out of here. Love you guys.